Hello, I'm Gaggle, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the new Kaisa build, the new hotness, the new good stuff. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about Kaisa to kind of understand why she builds the way she does, and how this new build affects Kaisa gameplay. So the main thing about Kaisa's kit, when looking at her itemization, especially her first two items, is the evolution of her abilities. You need to hit a certain stat threshold to level up her abilities essentially and make them more powerful, more useful. Now the most important one generally for solo queue, and the one that people generally focus on, is Acathian Rain. Basically any build that cannot get this by first item plus extra item is generally not played or not used very often, because getting the extra missiles is so important to her kit, and being able to burst and get tons of extra power in the mid game. The other standardly achieved evolve in most builds is the supercharger evolve, which gives her invisibility whenever she uses it, which is good for repositioning. And a lot of the best Kaisa builds, especially for higher elo or lower gold economy games, such as professional play, want to hit both evolves as early as possible, generally at 2 items. This is why traditionally we have seen the Stormrazor plus Ginsu's, is because this lets you achieve both evolves with your first 2 items plus your boots, which really helps her hit her power spikes and do what she wants to do inside of the mid and late game. So we're going to talk about the new hotness, okay? The new take on the block that people have been building is Manamune. Now, this item might seem a little weird for her, but that buff they gave it a while back to give it 10 extra AD means that even without fully completing it, Kaisa can be in a position where she can evolve her Q with Manamune plus Rageblade, as long as it's stacked a little bit. And the main reason that this item has been picked up now over the more traditional Stormrazor is just the cost, basically. Stormrazor being 3,100, Manamune being 2,400. So, you're saving yourself 700 gold. Now, the item itself is a little bit less powerful, but still triggers your double evolves, and when it's fully stacked, it will give you similar damage potential to having Stormrazor, and also the fact that Manamune's ability is on hit means that it works well with the Ginsu's Rageblade, which is still very standard on Kaisa as a second item. So the key thing to know about this is, unlike most other tier users, or unlike most other people would consider a tier item, the actual tier is not the important part here. So ideally on first back you get pickaxe, and then you have a back where you buy tier, and then you combine it with another back, or you combine it from pickaxe at the same time because the item is so cheap. But you still get the AD power, and you stack the tier. And also, something that people might not know about Manamune, since it is an item that is stereotypically only seen on Ezreal and not many other champions, is once you actually make the item, once you actually make the Manamune, you can actually stack the charges just by auto-attacking. With a basic attack, you may consume a charging at +5 mana. So this actually means that you can stack this item without having to use tons of abilities, because if you had to just do this with the abilities on Kaisa, this item would not be very good for her, as it would take way too long. So if you look at a lot of the professional builds now from pro players and high elo players, you are seeing a lot of this, because it is very ult efficient, as I was saying, and it does trigger the evolves with the Rageblade plus the Manamune. So some notes about this is it is not stereotypical, but it is commonly used in AP builds, meaning that you're going Nashor's third, into AP items we see down here. There are some people who are going for the crit after this, but normally this works best on the AP build because you're going to have the extra mana from your Mana Mune gives you the ability to spam Void Seeker, and going AP to get the upgrade on this to give you the 3 stacks and refund 50% of the cooldown means that this actually becomes a very good trading tool and a very good poking tool and really nice for your damage trades. So now that you know why this item has come up, we're going to talk about some negatives with it and why this is not necessarily a build you want to go for every game, even though professional players are, for the most part, going in every game. Why in your solo queue games, especially in an average elo with a higher gold income in a game, why you would maybe not consider this. So the first thing and the first kind of issue with this is the build path. After Pickaxe, you have to complete the entire Mana Mune to actually get a significant power spike compared to other champions that may be able to do something like get a Pickaxe plus some daggers, or a BF plus some daggers, or a Pickaxe and upgraded boots, or something like that. It's not necessarily a problem. It's not too bad, too much of a damage deficit, because the item is so cheap if you are even. Where this really kind of could fall apart, at least in my opinion, is when you're ahead. When you're doing really well in the early game, the ability to not actually be able to pick up extra power after the pickaxe can be kind of not let you press your advantage as much as you would want to. So the way after playing this quite a bit and testing it, the way I see it, or the way I've been using it, is this Mana Mune is a great pickup if you're even to slightly behind, and you just want to farm out the wave with the wave clear given to you by having no mana issues from tier, and you're not necessarily trying to hard pressure a lane out of its advantage. Whereas if you're trying to actually, if you get a few kills early, you're up, you want to play forward, I would still recommend going for the Stormrazor build, because Stormrazor lets you, especially if you can afford BF first back, because the Stormrazor lets you buy more power before you complete the actual item, whereas Mana Mune does not necessarily allow you to buy more power before the actual item is completed. And I want to just briefly also talk about the other common starting item on Kai'Sa, which is Infinity Edge. This is kind of a not really seen too much anymore. So personally, I would not recommend it, as it is expensive. It doesn't have as much of a clean upgrade path, because with IE, there's no way with IE to get both evolves with just 2 items plus boots with an IE. So that is the kind of the downside of IE. But going IE does give you some ways to hyper rush your Q evolve, being able to go BF sword, pickaxe, pickaxe. The second pickaxe being for your rage blade, allows you to get the Q evolve on like 2,900 gold, opposed to the Mana Mune, which you have to get this plus a pickaxe and then still have a little bit of stacks. So you're looking more at the 3,300 gold range. So if you are hard stomping and you just want to get that Q evolve, you want to pressure, you want to push hard, it may be worth considering the Infinity Edge now, or still. But yeah, this is the new hotness. There's going to be a lot of videos out there of people. I'm gonna have a gameplay of this a little bit later, once I get my editing software working. But a lot of people are gonna play this up as the perfect build, and great. But it is that there are trade-offs here. There are considerable trade-offs to be made between Mana Mune and Stormrazor and an IE BF pickaxe rush that you kind of want to make inside of your game. So I appreciate you watching this video, and look forward to some gameplay of this a little bit for later on in the week.